Hello everybody, Mike, aka the Magico13, here with Kerbal Space Program Out of This World Series Episode 9. Today we are fast-forwarding by 6 days in order to send up these base modules to BOP. So there's two parts to this base. Well, first off, there's no Kerbals in it yet. That will be something that we send up in a later mission. Yes, setting BOP as our target, and making sure everything else is alright before we go for launch. Alright, so we've got a pretty heavy lifter here, and then there is a science module for resetting science stuff, and then on top of that is a Kethane probe. I apparently forgot to turn my volume down again, so I was just temporarily deafened. Yes, so kind of slow start, not too bad. Thrust to weight ratio 1.7 now, climbing, and we are running out of solid fuel very quickly. There are some small 1.25 meter, well, they are 4 1.25 meter launches, but I've thrown it on here, so now we're going to drop these boosters, the first set at least. We've got, what is that, 8, 10 more? Which makes a pretty awesome looking thing there. Yeah, these are all liquid fueled now. So yes, on top is a Kethane probe. It's got a converter, 2 drills. We only really need 1 drill, but I needed to balance the mass. A bunch of solar panels and a bunch of batteries. You can see our electric charge capacity is over 4,000, which now I really wish I'd put like over 9,000, because that would have been really entertaining. You can see Jewel there with what looks to be lathe, and it's not Minmus, that's gotta be the moon. I really want to go to one of the other planets, instead of just messing around in Kerbin and Bot, and I guess they're not technically planets, they're also moons. Alternis Kerbol really screws things up, because Kerbin's not a planet either, Kerbin is a moon. And I think Duna is a moon. I think Duna is a moon of Tylo. Yeah. So I really want to go to some of the other systems in the Jewel planetary system, I suppose it would be called. The moon is the closest, and because it has biomes, we can get a lot of science there. And we have honestly exhausted a lot of the science in this area, which is kind of silly that I'm sending up this science base, because I was hoping we could get more out of BOP, and I don't think we really end up getting a whole lot. While with the moon and its biomes, we can do a lot of exploration there, and then there's Minmus and its biomes, and that's honestly the number one reason I'm not going to Lathe right now, is simply because it doesn't have any biomes. It would be really nice to go there because we don't need oxygen. We could take planes if we decided to try to send a plane into space. We can't build SSTOs yet. We don't have any of the high altitude stuff. So, yeah. This stage lasts a really long time. I'm just kind of rambling on, and it's still going. We're about to drop it 40 kilometers up. There we go. And now we just have this Center 3 stack, which is the same style that I used for the space station. It's a good way, in my opinion, of getting a lot of power and a lot of fuel using 1.25 meter, because you get that tri-coupler really early on. You don't get a bicoupler or a quad coupler for a while. A quad coupler would probably still be better. You can get a lot of power and a lot of fuel in there. Honestly, 2.5 meter parts are probably better. I have a feeling, I haven't actually double checked this, but I have a feeling that the amount of fuel per weight, that 2.5 meter parts probably have a higher fuel to mass ratio, and you want as small of mass as possible with as much fuel as possible. So now we're just circularizing, and this is all probed. There's only capacity for 2 Kerbals on this. but there's life support for something like 180 or 300 days. It's actually been a while since I launched this. To be honest, I think this was over a month ago. I have a whole backlog of videos that I am still needing to do commentary for, and I'm doing the commentary like the week that I upload the video, but I have these videos from like winter break, which ended in January. This is probably from mid-January. So things are very out of date. Like the toolbar I'm running right now is I think 1.4, and the update for I think 1.5 is currently available. As you can see by the little icon. But now in real life, when I'm doing this audio, 1.7 is out. And this is still long before I had taken over Kerbal construction time. So this is still the other version with edits. So there's scene change there so that you don't have to watch me fiddling around with maneuver nodes. We set this one up, and instead of using the exec option and instead of just pointing and thrusting manually, I'm going to try to set the flight computer up to do this burn. So it's too long of a burn to just leave it with the exec option. So what we do is we put in the meters per second that we want burned, which is 656 roughly, yeah, 655.6 meters per second, which is given to us by the maneuver node. We point at the maneuver node, but we set the delay manually so that half of the burn will be beforehand and half will be after. However, you may have noticed there's only 202 meters per second of delta V left in this stage. Also, you may notice that it won't actually point at the maneuver node. It is pointing just under. From our point of view, it looks like over, but actually when we get on this side, it will be over. I cannot, for the life of me, get it to actually point at the maneuver node, which may be an issue. So yeah, this is going to burn in 40 seconds, which will theoretically will cut the burn to half before, half after, but because we have to stage during, it's going to mess things up. Here we go. Now this is all being done purely by the computer. I'm not doing any WASD keys, which are my rules for probes. The only things I can press are spacebar, shift, and X, and the rest is with the flight computer, which is gonna be absolutely awesome for landing later. This is actually the second time I've tried this. I did a full recording using a different, a very slightly modified version of these landers that didn't have reaction wheels. I was just relying on the probe wheels, and they responded so slowly that I spent most of my time just sliding across the ground. So these ones have reaction wheels on them, and that is the only difference. So yes, that burn has finished, but we're not even remotely close, so I need to set up another one. And this one is only going to be like a... That's actually a 20-second burn, but it looks like we're actually going to be able to point at it, and I'm just going to use the exec option so that I don't need to worry about trying to get things timed right. And we have an intercept with a periapsis of 8 kilometers, which is very good. On BOP, that's probably... You could probably get a lot better on BOP, but oh well. So we're going to set a 5-second alarm. We'll go off 5 seconds before we enter the sphere of influence. That way we don't go through at full time warp. And there we go. Delete this, and then our nav ball will change when we change sphere of influence. There we go. According to that, we experienced really massive G-forces, but that's not actually true. Our thrust-to-weight ratio is looking ridiculous right now. I think our actual thrust-to-weight ratio is 21, which is pretty huge. But now we have to spend a lot of fuel trying to slow down and get captured by BOP, because Okay, we have to spend 406 meters per second, which will drop us down to an orbital velocity of 20 meters per second, which is absolutely nothing. I mean, Bop's escape velocity is such... I think I've actually talked about this before, but Bop's escape velocity is such that you can drive a car fast enough to escape it. Now, I don't know what Gilly is absolutely nothing. I'm trying to do that split thing again here. But yeah, Gilly is massively tiny, which massively is kind of an ironic thing to use there, yeah. So its escape velocity, I want to say, is like 10 meters per second. I know you can do it easily with a jetpack, like with the EVA pack. So now we are just trying to do our capture burn. And the interesting thing is, we may lose connection with that satellite. Yes, I can't tell if we are going above Bop with that. Possibly. Okay, so we are captured, but our burn is completely messed up. Which is a little inconvenient, but oh well. We did drop our periapsis quite a bit, so we might as well spend the, like, 6 meters per second. Oh, I was guessing, yeah, 4 meters per second to lower our periapsis, or our apoapsis down, and that's not even a burn that is registered in time. The movement of our center of mass from rotating is having a massive effect on our orbit, which is just silly. Oh, it appears our signal is being bounced off the Bop mapper, which is the reason I have the Bop mapper there. This is all, I think, within range of the omnidirectionals. I think, yeah, I do have an antenna on here. I don't even know if I turned it on, because of our satellite network, our omnidirectionals reach everywhere in here. When we decide to go to the moon, we'll actually need antenna, and we don't, not antenna, but dishes. And honestly, we don't have any dishes that will reach far enough. The best one we've got can go 90 megameters. The distance between Kerbin and the moon on opposite sides is like twice that, I think. So now, for whatever reason, I didn't actually record the disconnecting of this. I had a kind of fancy decoupler system set up where I had 2 decouplers that were facing away from each other. Because we don't have any stack decouplers, but I had the engines mounted to each other. And my first time I tried to do this, that caused issues, and I couldn't get rid of the decoupler that I had stuck on there. So I have fixed that in this one. You can see that white thing. I pointed this out in the episode with the Bop mapper. And that white thing is the is an anomaly. It is, in fact, the dead space kraken. So I want to try to land over there and see if there's Kethane there, because it's got this nice little basin, and it's also a really good marker. And Bop has, like, nowhere that's flat, and I know that there's Kethane near here, so if I get lucky and land here, then we will hopefully be able to set up a base here. Unfortunately, that cliff is kind of awful if you want to come from the other direction, but coming from this direction, which I think is the retrograde direction, it's honestly kind of nice. There's a nice, slow, open entrance into this little basin. So yeah, we're going to come down right next to this. You can see the Kethane map here. It's kind of zoomed out for me now, and the hexes are really small, so I don't remember exactly where Kethane is. But there is one really easy way to find out, and that's landing and deploying the drill and seeing if you get any Kethane from it. So now we are just time warping down. We're not quite going to land on it. That'd be kind of funny. If there was Kethane here, I wonder if that would actually let you mine it. Probably not. But yeah, we're just gonna glide right next to it. It's actually fairly large. I mean, this probe is fairly small. I think it masses like 2 tons or something like that, but it's kind of large. Also, I think we can see the sign, or not the sign, the flag that we planted, that Bill planted in the, like, 3rd or 4th episode. Maybe it was the 5th, the Bop episode. So there we go, we've landed, except I've got surface retrograde on, and it's kind of confused, and there we go. Yeah, if I just put the pitch at 90, we'll point straight up. And that wasn't too bad. If I didn't have those reaction wheels, it would be sideways right now. Speaking of being sideways, it's trying to do that right now. And I stupidly think that surface normal will actually point it normal to the surface I'm on instead of my surface movement, which results in that little breakdance and then us traveling through a rock. So yeah, once this settles, we will turn off the control so that it just kind of flattens out. Preparing to kill rotation in case it starts to try to fall over. And deploy the drill, activate physical time warp to speed up the animation, and there's no gas cloud and our Kethane's not increasing. So there's no Kethane here, which is kind of inconvenient. So we have to now try to find some, which involves looking at the map and deciding, hey, where's the Kethane at? And now the quest for Kethane, and music that is way too epic for what is actually going on. This is just basically a compilation of me going to pretty much half of Bop, trying to find some Kethane in this area. Sped up to, I think, like 9.5 times, so it fits the length of the song. So yeah, you just get to see what I did in about 40 minutes in the course of about 2. I got pretty good at controlling probes with the flight computer. This is all just basically manual input, and then for landing, doing surface retrograde works really well, and then right when you're about to touch down, you just pitch it straight up. And then if you want to go certain directions, you just adjust the heading and the pitch. And my video keeps skipping, so I can't comment exactly on things, but at this point I think I'm trying to level it out with the ground, also just bouncing around a lot, and just kind of being completely wrong with everywhere that I'm guessing. So I ended up going down like the wrong valley and had to jump over a mountain, and there we go! We actually have landed at a place that has Kethane. So now I just need to let this balance, and there we go. This is where we will be building the Bop Science and Gas Station. Thank you all for watching. I'm Mike, aka TheMagico13. I will see you all next time.